This is the Mama with Vanguard Fight Club, and I'm bringing you a deck profile for Shadow Paladin. Force markers. Alright, starters full bow, when rolled upon draw, standard, staple on the triggers, lineups. I play 6 draw, 6 crit, and of course 4 heals. Some builds they play the 8 crit, but I wanted more hand advantage, so I upped the 2 draw triggers, 2 extra draw triggers. I play 4 of the Immaculate Perfect Guards, staple there. I feel like you need hand advantage in this deck to be able to replenish your field and your board when needed. So that's why I chose to do 6 and 6.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Next up in for grade 1 lineups is I play 2 Nightmare Painters. When placed on rear guard, put a grade 1 or less from your drop zone into your soul, and it gets plus 3,000 power. This is just to refill your soul for your soul blast skill for like Charon and a couple others when we get to them. Next is the OG Blaster Javelin. When placed, if you have 2 or more other grade 1 or less rear guards, you get to counterblast 1, draw a card, and it gets plus 3. Again, hand advantage is key in this deck, and the plus 3,000 makes it 11k to be able to hit most grade 2 vanguards and rear guards. Next is one of my favorite cards in the deck. It would be Black Sage Charon. When it's called due to an ability, use Soul Blast 1 and counter charge, and this gets plus 3. So again, this is another reason we play Nightmare Painter, so we have more soul to reuse the skill to keep counter charging, because this is a counter blast heavy deck. So you need a way to counter charge, and the plus 3,000 power will makes your column stronger. Next is another good card in the deck. It's a Skull Witch Nemen. You rest it, search for another card with 5,000 or less. If you search for this card, you can't reuse the skill again. So hopefully we'll be getting more grade 1s that are, or cards that have 5,000 or less. I know there's a promo and there's another grade 1. I think it's a 5,000. I think it may be 7,000. I'm not completely sure. But this card just helps you fill the field for effects and gives you rear guards, and you don't have to waste hand to get more rear guards on board for your skills. Next is Tragic Knight Catbad. To be a common, this card is just a really strong card. So when it attacks the Vanguard, you get plus 3 for every rear guard that you have more than your opponent. So maximum output would be 15,000 on its own without a boost. So this card just hits the big numbers when you're trying to push for game, especially if you have force markers on it. The columns are hit huge numbers. Next for grade, last for grade. Oh, I'm sorry, we got. I'm sorry. Next is for Darkness Maiden Maka. So when I first started playing this deck, I didn't realize that it was you could do it once per turn, not when it's called. So you just keep this on board. You can counterblast 1, call a grade 1 or less from your hand, draw a card, and she gets plus 5,000 power, and it's Vanguard and rear guard. So if you don't ride Blaster Dark, this is your second best ride. Her old one was, I think, counterblast 2, call a grade 1 or less or something from the deck, but this new version is 10 times better because you get hand control plus power, so it just makes your columns massive. Especially, it's really good when you team it with Charon. And last for grade 2s are Blaster Dark. So when placed on Vanguard, counterblast 1, your opponent chooses a Vanguard to retire. So with the new series for Shadow Paladin, one thing I don't like, honestly, is that they get to choose their regards, what they retire. So they can just call a useless card just to be their target for your destruction, knowing that you have a Blaster Dark or you have another card that retires. It's secondary skills. If your opponent has no regards, you counterblast 1, or I'm sorry, you discard 1. You discard 1, and it gets Twin Drive. So the card puts pressure for your opponents to call rear guards to keep you from getting that Twin Drive if they don't want you to have it or not. Also, I only have 1 image rare. Unfortunately, I want to have more. I like the artwork and just the artwork is really nice.
Two left hands.
Two left hands, exactly. Next to grade 3s, I play one Dark Mage, Blvd. I was playing at 2, I think, and this was one of my favorite cards, so I opted to play 3 Dark Dictator instead. Catbet or Blvd is really good because you soul blast one and you can call it the top card of your deck, and if you choose to call it, that unit gets +5 and it dies at the end phase. But with this one, I like that you can counterblast and call anything from your hand, give it +5, and then your opponent retires.
Grade 2 or less.
Grade 2 or less. Grade 2 or less, and they retire. You call a grade 2 or less, and then they retire one unit. I like this because he gets the 2,000 power on top of that. So, and I also like keeping control of the opponent's board. I mean, with this card, this sets you up for your in-game push with your main grade 3, but you could also hit a trigger, and that would be one of those triggers you could use to hit off their drive checks. So I opted to play 3 of this, because at one point it was 2 and 2, but like I said, I opted to go 3 and 1. I think Payne plays 2 of these instead of 3. I don't even think you play any of this, do you?
I played 2 Blvd and 3 Dark Dictator. I played 9 grade 3s
Okay.
like that.
Okay. Well, he plays more than I do. And then on to the final will be 4 Phantom Blaster Dragon. One is VR. So his regular skill is Soul Blast 1. If your Soul Blast is grade 3. If your opponent has no riggers, they take a damage as long as they have 4 or less. Second skill is Counterblast 1. Retire 3 of yours. They retire 3 of theirs, and you get 15 in a crit. The one thing I like about this deck is if early on, if you open up with Nimin or just any way to flood the field, you can turn 1 Counterblast to make them retire what they do have, and plus 15 pressure. On top of that, if you add the force trigger marker to it, early on in the game, that's a way to pressure them really early. I usually do it if I have the resources to use. I will do it turn 3 or turn 4 if I'm going second. So this card, when it first came out, everybody didn't think this card was good. I don't think I like the effects, but what I was expecting is not what I got. But I've been playing Shadows since set 2. No, that's not set 2.
Set 4 was when they originally came out.
Set 4, I'm sorry. And then playing Raging Form and Mordred and going up from there.
Set 12.
Set 12. And, well, I'm just saying I played originally.
Oh, okay, my bad.
And then Raging Form and all that as it came out. I played Shadows all the way through original start of G. So to be able to play the deck again and playing with the old school cards that were my favorites, I enjoy it. I wish he would have had a different effect than what he was given, but it's still a really good card and a really good deck, and I do enjoy it, and I will be playing it for the foreseeable future. So this has been the Vanguard Fight Club, and we're signing off.